Hi everybody! Welcome to this month's guided art workshop. I'm Miss Laura and I'm here to tell you about what we'll be doing. This month we're going to be making a sculpture that has a shadow. Now you might be thinking everything has a shadow when the light's shining on it, and that's true, but we're going to be tracing the shadows and putting them on the paper forever. In your art kit, you have 2 pieces of tinfoil. That's for if you want to make more than one of them, or if your tinfoil rips, which happens sometimes. You got to be a little careful when you're making your sculpture. You've also got a piece of paper that's got pictures of some sculptures that look a little bit like the ones we're going to make today, which are not the most realistic, I would say. It has some questions on it that you can use to think about your art, but you don't have to if you don't want to, because art should be fun. All right, on that note, let's get started. All right, so the materials we need are your tinfoil, a piece of paper, some scissors, a pencil, and some tape. You can also use glue. You also need a light source that's not directly above you, so maybe a lamp or a flashlight. We're going to start with some tinfoil. You're going to make your tinfoil into a sculpture. I'm going to make it into a person because that's what I found was the easiest to make it into, but you can make it into whatever you want. Do you want a dinosaur sculpture? Go for it. Do you want to make a horse? Cool. What I'm going to do is make a couple of cuts in the tinfoil that will sort of approximate the body parts of my person. This person is not going to look like a regular human person. It's going to look a little odd, but we'll see. First, I'm going to make some cuts to be the head. Then I'm going to make some cuts for the arms, just one on each side, and then a cut in the middle to make legs. So you can kind of see these areas are going to be the arms, these will be the legs, this is the main body, and this is the head. I'm going to fold in gently, trying not to rip it. But if you do rip it badly, there is another piece of foil in your kit. I'm going to fold it loosely until I'm sure that I've got it in basically the shape I want it to be. And then I can do some scrunching. And there we go, a sort of person-shaped figure. I can pose him any way I want. That's the really cool thing about tinfoil. But I'm going to pose him standing up on a piece of paper. What I'm going to do is get a little piece of tape and stick it onto his feet. So really, I'm getting 2 little pieces of tape. And sometimes it doesn't like to stick right away. You could also use masking tape or hot glue. Either of those will work. And then I'm going to stick him onto my paper. You might have to move your sculpture around a little bit and change the pose to make sure that they'll stand up. But once you've got it in a pose that you are happy with, that's when we're going to move on to the second part of this, which is making a shadow. So you can see right now there's kind of some shadows around, but none of them are really distinct and defined. And that's because I'm just using the ceiling lights in this room right now. But I'm going to turn on a flashlight that's aimed at my guy. And there, I've got a shadow. You might not be happy with your shadow at first, and you can move your person around, move them closer or farther away from the light source, and see how that shadow changes. Sometimes it'll go off the page a little bit. I actually kind of liked that original one, so I'm going to use that. This is when I get my pencil and I trace the outline of the shadow. You'll want to make sure that your light source doesn't move and that your paper doesn't move during this part. And while you're doing it, let's talk about shadows. What do you know about them? What causes them? Why do they not always look the same? Do they always look exactly like the thing that they are a shadow of? I know sometimes when I go outside, my shadow is tall, way taller than me. Sometimes it's way shorter than me. Sometimes I can't see a shadow at all. If you went outside right now, would you be able to see a shadow? I would probably be able to. It's pretty cloudy out though. Do you know why the cloudiness affects the shadow that you've got? What about when you see a couple of different shadows for one object? Shadows are pretty cool. Okay, now I've got the shadow outlined and I don't need my light anymore. What I'm gonna do now is color in the shadow, and it doesn't matter which way I turn it because see, it's always gonna be there. I'm just gonna lightly color it in. You can do this however you want. If you want to make it really dark, you can. If you want to color it a different color than in a pencil, you can do that. It's your art and your shadow. Well, it's this guy's shadow, but you're the one creating it. One thing you can do if you want to do a little bit more with shadows is move the light source around, or maybe put your sculpture in a window and trace the shadow at different times of the day to see what it looks like as the sun moves around. If you do that, you might want to do it in different colors so you can keep the shadow straight, but it'll make a really interesting picture of the way a shadow moves during the day. So there we go. I have a sculpture and I have the sculpture's shadow. All right, now you've got your sculpture completed. Remember, we always want to see pictures of your cool art. You can post them in the Facebook comments or email them to us at youthservices@monroepubliclibrary.org. Even if you don't want us to share them, we will still love to see them. They make us really happy because you guys do some cool art. I hope you had fun. I hope you thought a lot about how shadows work. And we will see you next time for November's guided art workshop. Have a great day.